you must be honest with yourself. In order for you to be competitive or for you to survive, you must be honest with yourself. And that honesty of yourself is when you look at yourself in the mirror, you know that if I can't do it, I must put my ego aside and ask for help. Do not be scared to bring forth an idea. Born your thought. Born your thought, but don't ever leave it.
Today, we caught up with Isaac Lugudde, who is a sports executive with Roc Nation Sports, currently living in South Africa. You might know him better as a basketballer who represented Uganda on Season 8 of Big Brother Africa. We dive into his journey, the big plans he has for the future of sports, and so much more.
The last time I was in Uganda was last year. The reason I was there because I was in the country next door for the Basketball African League in Kigali, for the BAL. So I was like, since I'm here, let me just go next door. Let me go home next door. And yeah, that's the last time I was here.
Ah, okay. So it's not that far back.
No, it's not. But I have a tendency. But prior to that, the last time I was there was in 2018.
Right. Okay.
And that's when I was playing for the Uganda national basketball team. Preparing for the Olympic qualifiers.
Yeah. Okay. How did you get into playing basketball?
How did I get into playing basketball? It's a great question. I got into playing basketball by my sister, my older sister Irene. We were living in the U.S. At that time in Salem, Massachusetts. My older sister was the basketball player. I played every sport. I was just playing every sport. And so when I was playing Papa Wana, I ended up breaking my leg. And when I broke my leg, my sister forced me to play basketball. She said, "No more for that. You're gonna play basketball." And she introduced me at the game. I was young. I was about 8 years old.
Okay.
So I was young. She introduced me to the game, and then she was forcing me to go outside playing basketball, learning how to dribble, shooting in rain and everything. So the credit has to go to my older sister.
Okay. Oh, interesting. I want to just go back to the start. Like, who is Isaac Lugudde? Tell us about you. Like, what do you do?
Right.
Who are you? Yeah. For those
Thank you for that question. So who am I? My name is Isaac Lugudde Katwe. I come from the Mamba clan. I'm a Buganda man. But I'm deeper than what I do. I'm a spiritual being striving to reflect the divine representation of God in everything that I do. That's who I am. I am the original man. Okay. And I'm striving. I'm striving to grow into my divinity. My whole life, I'm born in Uganda. So I was born in Zambia, right? Zambia Hospital, in Uganda, Kampala, to be exact. My mom is Dr. Elizabeth Namatanzi Lugudde Katwe, and my dad is Samuel Lugudde Katwe. My family comes from the Buganda Kingdom. In terms of who my family is, basically that kind of lineage. But as a people, we're all one. I currently right now reside in South Africa. I would like for us to talk about that journey, and I think that's the purpose of how I ended up here. But I'm born out of there's 8 siblings. Well, let me just say 10, because of who some of my other family is. That also they are my brothers and sisters. Right. So let me say 10 siblings. We grew up in a very competitive household. I grew up in a very competitive household. There's a direct split in the house, in terms of from the ratio between men and women, boys and girls. So I grew up in a very competitive household by a mother who did everything that she could, man, to make sure that we have all access to the best education that we could, and so forth. We left Uganda when I wasn't even as a toddler, if that, and spent my whole life in the United States.
Mm.
So growing up, spent my whole life in the U.S. And we're going to have a very transparent conversation. Spent my whole life in the U.S. and very competitively. So, as you know, the U.S. market as a basketball player, considered one of the best in playing basketball. I left the United States in 2009, entering 2009, and I arrived Uganda. From arriving Uganda, I had an opportunity to, at that time, my mother was in Parliament. I had an opportunity to play for Uganda national team. So I came, played for the national team, and played for what was then the most dominant basketball club in East Africa, which was D-Mark Power. Well, actually, I started at the Falcons, which was also the dominant club in East Africa. I started the Falcons, and then I went to D-Mark Power and won 3 consecutive championships back to back with D-Mark Power. Was it 3 or 2? 2. Forgive if I don't. I think it's 3 consecutive, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I then had an opportunity during that time to work for one of my mentors, my big brother, Cedric Babu at Kinetic. Why he opened up his sports company, which I got to, be involved from the genesis, and he opened up his sports company, and I was the head of marketing, and he opened up his sports company, and we created Kinetic Management Group. I then had an opportunity, or Kinetic Management Group, which, if you remember, the Friday Night Lights. Basketball that was created by us, created by Cedric 100%, and we created something that was very historic and has never been done before. And you can see the results of that now. That after all these years, it's still there, going very well. Well, subject to opinion. Yeah. I then gained notoriety in Uganda for my relationship interests, which caused the attention of Big Brother Africa. I used that platform as an opportunity for me to talk about the LK4 brand, and potentially see where that can take me. I fell in love with in the Big Brother house. My experience there was short-lived. Was there for almost 3 weeks. And we both got kicked out with the person that I fell in love with in the house. In getting kicked out of the house, I ended up relocating to South Africa. After doing a few Big Brother Endemol contractual tours across certain African regions, I relocated down here because I got offered a contract by Quentin Dennison and Mpumi, who at that time owned a team called Limpopo Pride. Polokwane Trailblazers, which was called Polokwane Trailblazers in South Africa. So I relocated here and started playing basketball, allowing my name, image, and likeness to be used as a platform to help grow the sport at that time, because basketball was resurrecting itself. And so I did that. I played consistently here in South Africa, relocated down here. The relationship didn't work out with the woman from Big Brother House, which was fine, which now opened up another opportunity for me to experience the culture in South Africa and basically get to network a little bit. And that networking and getting to understand the cultures and doing my own basic needs analysis of what's needed in the country from a sports and entertainment aspect. So I opened up my own sports company. I opened up my own sports company called Excel Sports. And when I opened up that sports company, what I did is I created what they called African Hoop Summit. That Hoop Summit allowed me to invite people from different parts of Africa and play in front of a bunch of scouts, trainers, NBA trainers, and so forth. And I did that. And while I was doing that, I also was working with one of my partners in New York, Hassan. And what we did is we created like an agency that would help bring in artists from the US, such as Nas, Lauryn Hill, Russell Simmons, TED Talks like that, and so forth. And then while I was doing that, I had an opportunity to help around Global Citizens. The Global Citizens happened, and I asked for a few minutes to present my case into the Roc Nation executives about how I would love to open up Roc Nation here in Africa. Fast forward, I ended up, that little short meeting came into an hours long meeting, which my proposition and my idea was accepted, and I ended up leading Roc Nation. I started as a management liaison at Roc Nation in 2018-19. We opened up internationally, signing Romelu Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne, Sia Kolisi, and then the trajectory started going high. Cheslin Colby, Mamelodi Sundowns, the Sharks, Lungi Ngidi, Temba Bavuma in cricket. The list can go on and on. Bongi Sombi for netball. The list can go on and on. Beast from rugby, and we just Tendai Mutarira, and then we just built the trajectory within South Africa. I ended up going from management liaison to director of operations to senior executive for global business development, director of business development for Roc Nation, and then I resigned. I got an offer to be at CEO for a professional football team here in South Africa in the PSL, in the Premier Soccer League. I did it. That did not pan out the way I wanted it to pan out. The owner went through some financial troubles, which made me separate myself from the club. And then I now currently embarked and invested everything to open up what we are doing for the first time in the high performance indoor basketball high performance facility across South Africa and Africa. It's called the Basketball Factory, which is what you see on my shirt. And that's what I'm currently doing.
Okay, I was actually wondering what like the logo was. So
yes,
that clears it up.
Two bees, which try to resemble like a net. Which are the basketball factory.
Okay, interesting. That's a lot to unpack. I think it's kind of covered quite a bit of what we're going to talk about, but I'll just come and pick a thread and see how to
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you grew up in a large family, and you say that it was really competitive. What was that like? What was competitive about it? About growing up in big family?
Well, everything was competitive. Competition is always based off who you want to be favored. If the prize in the family is to be your mom's favorite or your dad's favorite or whatever, or have a one-up on one of your siblings, then that's where the competition came for. Let me give you just one example. If every week we always had schedule on who's going to do the dishes, who's going to do cooking, who's going to do laundry, who's going to do this and this in the household for household chores. Every time people would like to okay, I'm going to be the fastest. I'm going to be 10 and I'm done. Just little small things like that. Someone played a sports game and they're the top scorer in basketball, whatever. Someone else has to come back to make sure they're 2 times that as the top scorer. Someone came with grade, oh wow, they got a B. Someone now has to come with an A in terms of an education standpoint. So we were always competitive and always push each other because we always wanted to make sure someone brought out the best of themselves. And the best way we knew that at that time was to be competitive.
Right. Okay. So did you ever do it with like academics as well? Because at least I know on my case, like it was always like, who is the best? Da 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 da. So I don't know if that
Yeah, we
was
did.
the case.
We did. We really did that. But for me, I didn't really care. I was like, okay, wow, great job, man, you're great. That's good. I honestly was like, it's all good. That I'm proud of you, happy, I'll support you. Yes, the best way. But I knew where I always wanted to. If you said now you were better than me in sports, I took offense to that. Grades, okay, yeah, good job. Because I already knew at that time, yes, fine, my grades may not be that well, but I have to pass because if I didn't pass, the school is not going to have a star on their team because of grades. So I knew that the teacher would do whatever it takes to make sure that I pass.
Mm. Okay, okay. So how would you say your upbringing, affected or influenced who you are now?
I did. A great question. My upbringing, just like your environment shapes who you are. Not only does your environment shape who you are, but also your name shapes who you are. And this is why it's very careful. You have to be careful in how you name your child, because name means function, right? That means your function. That's how you identify with a person, place, or a thing based off its name, based off its function. So my name it means Hebrew, in Hebrew means laughter. So as much as I'm a very senior as a founder and director of the Basketball Factory, and I played very serious roles in my previous job, sitting in the boardroom of the most influential people in the world and so forth. When you know me personally, you know that I'm a comedian. I'm funny. I make people laugh type of thing. And so my environment always shaped me because I came to a very communicative family where sometimes you need to laugh and have laughter, because if not, there'll be cries and tears, because we didn't grow up in the best upbringing from a community perspective. It's what you would consider the hood. And how we grew up and so forth, where there's violence, where 1 in 3 Black people are either dead, on drugs, or in prison. So we grew up with those kind of statistics around. So our shelter, my parents did everything that they could to make sure that our environment was that had the 12 jewels, that had some of the 12 jewels of life: love, peace, happiness, freedom, justice, equality, and so forth. So if we didn't have that environment, I think we'd probably have a different story right now.
Right, right. Okay. I wonder how different it was growing up in the US and then moving back to Uganda. Was the vibe much different? Because
you want to hear a funny story? So I don't have any recollection of Uganda at all, none, apart from. So my parents would, it's so funny. My parents would play on TV. They would play on TV so that the kids can have some kind of identity with Uganda. So we play, and to this day, it's one of the artists that I know since I was a kid. Philip Bongle Lutaya. Born in Africa. Yeah. So that's all. So when I was coming, I kid you not, I had no idea what I was expecting. I was very ignorant based off obviously what's projected in the US, what's projected on TV and so forth. So I'm like, okay, I don't think there's that many roads. I know there's malaria, mosquitoes. So let me have as much mosquito repellent as possible. Let me have army fatigues in the backpack. Let me have Timberland boots. So I have my boots in there because I know there's not going to be clean roads. I know I'm going to be in a jungle. So that was my perspective. Man, when I landed, man, I was in shock. My mom was a political figure at that time. So we had police escort. I'm driving into Kampala. And at that time, there was BlackBerry, MMS. So I was over there with the BlackBerry taking pictures like, ching, 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 yo, showing my guys like, yo, look at that. They got jumbo screens out here. It's like a real city out here. You know, when you're coming from the airport and you're coming into Kampala, that right, and you see the screen and so forth. That's what I saw. I'm like, oh my God, they got, and I'm being picked up in a Land Cruiser, you know, with police escorts that that are Mercedes, I mean BMWs or whatever and so forth. And oh man, I was in shock. I was in such shock.
Wow. Yeah, that must have been quite like a shock, like a reset of, oh, this is what
It
I thought,
was.
and now this is what it is.
It was, and it was, and it was. When you're playing basketball in the U.S., you're just a number. You're just a number. But when I came to Uganda playing basketball, you can imagine tattoos, my accent. I'm not from here. I gain a lot of attention that normally I would not get from in the U.S. playing basketball. So in my head, I'm like, why would I want to leave when I'm getting all this notoriety? Like, why would I want to leave? And yeah, so.
Okay. And then tell me about your experience with Big Brother, because you were setting up and settled here, and then thrown into that world, which is, I think, very daunting, and all the eyes are on you and all that. So tell me about that experience. Like you said, it was short-lived, but I still
it was short. So I was in a relationship at that time with a public figure. We don't need to say her name, but I was in a relationship with a public figure at that time. It was something that was a bit frowned upon, that kind of relationship, just because of the countless media attention that we were getting. And then I just jumped onto Big Brother. I've never watched Big Brother before, so I did not know what to expect. So they put us in a hotel for about almost 3 weeks, where you're not seeing nobody at all, but you're going through psychological tests. You're going through medical tests for HIV, herpes, all those STDs and everything before you could go into the house. You're doing all those tests. And then whole assessment test. And then all of a sudden, they just put you in a house. In a house, and you're just finally for the first time seeing people. And you're like, yo, what's up? What's up? So now your whole equilibrium has just been heightened, everything, because of the fact that you've been isolated for a long time. It's basically they're basically grooming you so that you can have so much excitement when you're coming into the house. It was great. The experience was great. Because I can never say anything bad, because it helped grow me to where I am now. So it was a positive experience for me. I got to meet some amazing people, some people that I've become friends with now, even up to now. That's over 10 years ago, where there's some is my best friend, where I've been able to do amazing things. And, in that season, everybody in that season ended up becoming people that are very massive in their respective countries. And some big global icons. Well, let me not say global icons, that's stretching it, but some have become very reputable people from an international stage. So I think I've been blessed, but it was very, it was wild. So let me just tell you something, just for those that don't know. Big Brother scripted to a degree. Okay, there you go.
Wait, what? How? Wait, I mean, of course there are like the challenges and the stuff like that, but like, wait, how is it scripted?
Yeah, like, when Big Brother says report to the diary, sometimes they're going in there telling you to do certain things for ratings and things like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I don't know. Is there anything that you remember specifically that you did that you did not necessarily?
The good thing is I was well behaved. So apart from the time when they were trying to force us to kiss on TV, because everybody was waiting for that. Yeah. So but I was well behaved. But yeah.
What is it like? Okay, you said you did not watch the show beforehand, so I think a lot of the expectations were barely there.
Yeah.
With the show, because I wonder how comfortable you felt, like, falling in love or having a relationship.
Do you know what's so funny? Do you know what's so funny? Like, I really didn't, how do I say it? Because I did not know that there's cameras everywhere, I would try to play it off to like sneak somewhere, because I had I had a few girls in the house that fell in a romantically with me. And so I would tell them, I'll sneak over, I'm like, yo, you know, I like you. I like you too. Just be patient, relax. I can be patient. Is she your girl? I'm like, nah, we're just friends, be kicking it. Oh, man. Only for me to go, when I got kicked out the house, to see people like, that's what you get when you diss a Nigerian girl. The girl's Nigerian. You trying to play my
Nigerian. The girls.
Yeah, oh, man. I actually wish. Now, I can't say I wish anything because everything was done for a divine purpose, which I'm happy and I'm blessed about. But I should have done more research, put it that way. I should have done more research. But at the end of the day, who knows? The outcome would not have been the outcome. And then I may not have been where I am right now. So that's why I have no regrets in anything.
Yeah. And I think it's actually better that you had no expectations going in, because it's frustrating to watch someone who is like overcalculated,
right,
and they're like,
right.
you know that they have a strategy. Right, and it's like, no, we want to see the human condition. Right. It's the most fun part. So yeah, I think that was interesting. So, you know, when you left, how did you deal with like the aftermath of, you know, the Big Brother?
So when I left, it was a lot. I didn't realize how many people watching in South Africa. I was like a celeb overnight. Massive. I had a massive following, great people. I'm being pulled from everywhere. Hey, please come here. No, you 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 come here. Come here. Event. We have an event here. No, we have an event here. We have this. Yo, it was a lot. It was a lot, but the love was so amazing.
Okay, that's interesting. And then I think transitioning out of that space, like, why didn't you like capitalize on that, you know, that celebrity that had been given to you overnight?
Well, my purpose in life was not to be a celebrity. Let me just define what a celebrity is. People don't have to celebrate my existence for living. That isn't my purpose in life. So I did capitalize off that fame, not only from a monetary perspective, because when I went somewhere, it was not for free. When I went to an event or appeared somewhere, it was not for free. Even now, it's not for free. But I was able to capitalize off it, and it was amazing. I used that popularity to transition myself to play in a professional league here that needed that popularity. So it helped me.
Ah, okay. And was there any like negative impact that stuck with you, or no?
Apart from the fact that when people say, "Oh man, you in the house, man, you was a player." Apart from that, there wasn't no negative, because I was behaved. When you go Big Brother, people have that stigma of, oh man, were you intimate in the house, or man, was there a shower hour or whatever? No, I didn't. Good thing I didn't get caught up in any of those idioms.
Ah, okay. Interesting. So I want to get back to the basketball, because I think at this point, that's where we have, you know, kind of reached. Like,
absolutely.
You mentioned your sister is the reason why you got into it. Yeah. Was it always something that you thought about doing? Was it always something that was in your mind, like doing something in sports? Or was it just like, oh, I can do this and I can do it well, so why not?
So, great question. That's actually a very good question. Basketball did not become part of my career and what I wanted to do until I was probably about 13 years old, when I got my first tattoo, which was a basketball. Right there, from then, I said, yeah, I'm good. I'm going. It's game over. This is all I want to do.
What were the challenges if any, that you faced, transitioning from playing basketball in Uganda and then in South Africa? Was it any different or?
It was. First and foremost, the difference was the facilities. South Africa, is well known for being one of the most, if not the most, developed country in Africa, and even really literally is even better than some European and United States parts, regions, and states. The game, talent-wise, Uganda has a little bit more talent. From development, from above, professionally, so forth, has a little bit more talent. It goes hand in hand. But at that time, let me say at that time, because now it's not. It's not good. But yeah, the competition was a little bit different. Infrastructures were different. I think in Uganda, there was only just really one or two places which were so close to each other where you can play. Here in South Africa, I'm in Gauteng, so you can have people playing in Sandton or in Joburg side, and then you have people playing 45 minutes away in Pretoria. Then you have people playing 2 hours away in Durban. An hour away in Durban. Then you have people playing these in a flight that you have to take a flight, which is 2 hours away, 19 hours on the road, driving if you're driving there. So the space is a lot bigger. There's more access, people playing everywhere. So I think, it was like night and day. It's a big difference, which led me to make the decision to just stay here.
Ah, okay. And what about SA and the US? How would they compare?
Oh, no, you can't compare. You can't compare the basketball. US is number one. You can't. The amount of liquor stores that are in South Africa is the amount of basketball facilities that are in the US.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Bingo. Hence, the US is a prime country to understand sports and entertainment because they make sure that from a young age, grassroots all the way up to professional, you're going to have access to it. Whether you choose to utilize it or not, you are going to have access to it. South Africa falls under the same code as every African country. There's no access.
Okay. Interesting. Can I talk about maybe transitioning from actively playing to now being a sports executive?
Yeah, that was not easy for me. It wasn't. It's so funny. So I, at that time, I was still management liaison for Roc Nation. And I got called up for the national team, Uganda. So while I was playing, I'd have to run back to my hotel to get on a Zoom call. While there's practice and team dinner, I'd have to run back, get on a Zoom call. And that's when at that time, my president, Michael Yormark, who's also my mentor, even to this day, that's when he said, "You know what, Isaac? Either are you gonna continue chasing an orange pill, which is a basketball, or are you gonna embark on this reality of changing people's lives and doing something amazing?" And I said, "You know what? You're right." And that's when I hung it up. That's when I stopped. That was my last hurrah for basketball.
Oh, wow. I feel like that must have been like such a hard decision, especially if you're like really passionate about the game, like going from being front and center right in the middle of everything.
This was my retirement here, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, it was hard.
What, do you remember the year?
2018, 19. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm curious to know whether you took some lessons from, working with Cedric Babu into your space.
I did. Cedric groomed me extremely well. He's a visionary, way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time. Oh my goodness, he's a visionary. He groomed me right and prepared me. Because I got the big brother call from when we was in the office there at Musa Courts at the time. Kinetic was at Musa Courts. That's where our head office was in. And when I asked him for his permission and what he thinks, and he says, you know what? In his words, he's like, Chief, it's good. It's good popularity. It's also good. Make sure you say things about Kinetic. Go. So he gave me the blessings to go because I had no idea what it was. And I just see some lady just called me. Hi, we're from Endemol. And, we've been looking for you because we were at this time around, we're actually selecting who the talent's going to be that we want. There's no auditions because there was no auditions. They were selecting people and you had to make the cut. So I was like, yeah, I'll definitely love to. And since then, I left I hit the ground running.
Yeah. What about stuff about, I guess, sports, in the sports space? What lesson, stuck with you as you transition into being a sports executive?
So because I was already an executive of Kinetic. And I didn't really know to that magnitude of the requirements and criteria to become a sports executive that can create impact, change, and leave lasting impressions that's bigger than myself. So I had to be groomed by Michael Yormark, who's the current president of Roc Nation, on how to do that. And how not only just how to do that, but how to excel at that and how to continue to strive for greatness and be motivational and inspire and learn teamwork. And I'm coming from a basketball upbringing, which requires teamwork, and know that the weakest that your team is as strong as your weakest link, and knowing how to work together with one team, learning how to communicate effectively, learning how to be professional, because those are some of the things transitioning into an executive role that I had to struggle with, from time to time. But it was that man that gave me hope. And gave me a chance. And, like they say, it always takes one person to see not who you are right now, but to see who you can be. And here I am today doing something that's going to change all of Africa.
I know, the world of sports business must be crazy competitive. What has been your strategy for navigating, succeeding, thriving in that space?
Number one, Aisha, great question. And thank you for that. What has been, in a competitive world, what has been my way to navigate through that, especially as a sports and entertainment executive? I think there's a few principles that you need to. Number one is you must be honest with yourself. In order for you to be competitive or for you to survive, you must be honest with yourself. And that honesty of yourself is when you look at yourself in the mirror, you know that if I can't do it, I must put my ego aside and ask for help. That's what the team is for. Number two, you have an opportunity to be professional. Your last Zoom call leaves an impact and a representation of how they see the business, how you communicate, how you get a message from someone and you want to reply 3 days later, impacts the business. So now that goes to number 3. Always have a sense of urgency. One thing COVID has taught us is that today can be here today, but tomorrow is not promised. So when you don't have that sense of urgency, you just miss an opportunity for there to be an impact into the business. So have a sense of urgency. And I think last and the most important thing, do what you love. Be happy about it. When you're happy doing what you love, oh man, that's the competitiveness that separates you from the rest, because people can see. I'll give you an example. Hi, Isaac. How are you? I'm good. How are you? So let's get to point number 1. On that contract that I sent you, ooh, please. People can feel that energy. Energy is transferable. People can sense passion and energy and love because you're doing what you naturally love to do. People can sense passion. They can feel it. And in Africa, we are such spiritual beings. Period. We have a spiritual umbilical cord to one another. We know when this is just a job. This is just a 9 to 5 for this person. Or when someone's like, this is his life. This is life. Yeah, so that's how you're able to compete and stay ahead of the curve. And always do your homework and do your research.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true, especially about like the passionate part of it. It's, yeah, we can tell. What would your advice be for someone who is trying to break into either the sports space or entertainment in Uganda? What would be your advice for them?
Good question. Thank you. Just a little bit of course correction. Sports is entertainment. I never like separating. I can say the same thing. I say sports and entertainment just so that people, but I can never say sports or
right.
Because it's one and the same thing. My advice to someone that's getting into sports entertainment in Uganda is we, unlike our former generation, we have access to information. There is no excuse for you not knowing. You don't need to be groomed or mentored or something, because a lot of these executives now do TED Talks that are on YouTube. They do this and this and that. We have Africa has one of the fastest fiber brands and networks in the world. Our internet connection is so fast. You see a lot of people that come from the US and different parts of the world, and they be like, wow, in Uganda, your internet's fast. Wow, South Africa, wow, you guys, woof, this internet's quick because it's fast. Could it be faster? Yes, 100%. But you have access to information that a lot of people don't have. So, knowledge. You must have knowledge. Now, to have knowledge, you must have a platform and an avenue to manifest that knowledge. That's the wisdom. When you understand that application of knowledge, you then have understanding. Because now you've applied what you've known and you've experienced it. So now you become a knower. So you got to study. Do not be scared to bring forth an idea. Born your thought, but don't ever leave it. And the most important thing is that we all underestimate. Everyone has meetings. Everybody has meetings and everything like that. Fine, it's fine and dandy. The most important thing people forget is the follow through. What do you do after the meeting? What do you do after the meeting? It's like a relationship. Fine, you have the prettiest girl in the world. Now you're dating her. How are you doing to maintain her? You just had a great meeting in the workspace with a great investor or someone's a mentor. What are you going to do now to water that meeting? How will you follow through? What are you going to do the next day? What course of action are you taking to reach closer to your goals and objectives in life?
Yeah, I think that's really important, especially about the follow through, because sometimes it's fun to, you know, sit there and say, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then afterwards it's just like,
Yep.
I'm curious, do you follow any, you know, Ugandan talent when it comes to the basketball scene or sports in general, maybe football as well? Are there any athletes that stand out to you, or?
So that's a tough one. And I'm going to be very transparent and honest. I do not. I do not. There hasn't been anyone really. I do follow. The football league. I also follow rugby. I also follow basketball. But there hasn't been anyone that really stands out to me from that sports world. Our only person we know, obviously, Kipuchich, for our runner, our track star, that continues to get gold medals. I follow their track star because they continue to raise the bar in excellence. And they don't, and unlike a lot of our other athletes, they don't let their circumstance define who they are. When it comes to a world stage, they perform above and beyond and accelerate. So that's what I do follow. I follow those who reach that criteria.
Okay. It has made me think about, you know, something else, and I guess maybe an opportunity for sports in Uganda. But like, I wonder, would it be a lot easier to follow along with what's going on with the sports if it was, you know, broadcasted, if more people were putting it up there, or?
No.
Okay.
Let me tell you how things work. Let me explain to you how things a little bit work when it comes to that. Number one, no matter how, when you have a product, a corporate company like you got the national broadcast, DSTV, will approach you and say, we love your product. Can we have the broader world or region see your product, and we'll pay a premium price for it? When you don't have a product that's that good, you must ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Example, if you know people are hungry for content, let's put it in a restaurant aspect. If you know you put a restaurant in a community where people are starving and hungry and you put great prices, but your restaurant's empty. If you put that plate of food in front of me and I push it back, you don't say, you're stupid for not eating my food. You better look at the food that you're trying to serve me, because the food that you're trying to serve on that plate is not conducive for me to eat. That's the same way with content and TV. If you're not going to put a proper product out there, then people are not going to watch it. And people are hungry. People have access. This thing here, a telephone, you see what it says? Do what you love. This thing here, a telephone, you have access to everything. As long as you have internet, you can watch anything from anywhere. So access is not a problem. It's the product that you're producing that's a problem.
Yeah, but I think also at some point they're not producing the product because, for one, I know someone who, my brother actually, he plays basketball, and I've seen some of his games and gone to some of his games, but the thing is, like, they'll stop at it will stop there. They'll do a whole tournament and blah, 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 but it will rarely go out, not even on like the YouTubes of it all. Like, it's just, that. So I wonder if even just creating it and like showing people that this is what they're doing, I feel like that would be much better, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you see, that takes a production team and this and that. And a lot of people don't really want to, and it takes money to produce content. And if you're already struggling from a local league perspective, to budget to put content that's suitable to go on YouTube and things like that and generate the numbers that you want to generate with, a lot of people don't want to do that.
I mean, you made history as like the first Ugandan basketball player to secure an endorsement with Nike. How did that happen? Tell me about that.
So that's been. Let me clarify something. That has been a big misnomer in the Ugandan media. I've never secured a personal endorsement by Nike. Nike doesn't even do that. It's very rare. There's probably in Africa, there's probably about, with all the big top athletes, there's probably about only 3 real endorsed Nike athletes. Period.
Gotcha. So I don't know, where did the misconception come from?
Yeah, it's always been, and I'm glad you asked that question because you allow me now the platform to clarify that. It's always been, everyone thought when they saw the product and everything was wearing that it was an endorsement by Nike and so forth. It was not an endorsement by Nike. No.
So what was it?
No, it was just I have friends at Nike. I know people at Nike that work as executives. That's it. It was nothing. There's no, yeah.
Oh, 100%. Okay.
And those relationships helped with, signing Nike athletes, which I have. Abalele Fasi for the Sharks, Cheslin Colby for the Springboks. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, both of them are Springboks, yeah, but yeah. Yep.
Yeah. How do you, balance between, okay, you did say that sports is entertainment, but balancing those spaces to bring opportunities for growth.
Growth what? How do I balance? I didn't quite understand that.
No, because okay, when we say entertainment, I'm thinking being in the public eye and stuff like that. Okay. And then also the sports part, how you balance them both to grow each sector.
I think really the balance, which it is difficult. I think the balance, first and foremost, is you want to have to, you have to have a good team around you. That's number one. Have a good team around you. Professionalize the team around you. When you have a good team around you, it doesn't have to be professionals, but your family, friends that help you give balance in life and let you stay focused. That helps you have a balance. And the most important, which is one of the most underestimated, is have no ego. When you have ego, you're quick to crash.
Right. Is this a lesson that you learned through experience?
I don't say anything unless it's through experience.
Gotcha. Okay. What's the most rewarding part about your job?
Helping kids achieve their goals and objectives. I have this one kid right now who's 16. His name is Enzo. He's going to be probably the number. He'll be a lottery pick in the 2028 NBA draft. Yeah. So having kids reach their goals and objectives in life is my number one. It's always been my purpose, even working at Roc Nation. Having our clients reach their goals and objectives. That's my purpose. It's very altruistic, but again, that's my purpose in life.
Okay. What are you most excited about in the near future?
The launch of my facility.
Oh, really? Tell me about it.
Yes. So we're launching, without saying so much, because my team will kill me, without saying so much, but we'll be launching. We'll be announcing it, soft launch coming up shortly, which you will see. But then officially launching the building in January when we open up the building, which is going through so much construction and renovations and everything like that. But yeah, that's the only thing I'm excited for.
Is it just for basketball or?
No, it's called the Basketball Factory. So everything is. Yes, I can't say so much right now, but you'll see it when we launch.
Okay, I think you've shared quite enough, and yeah, thank you for the exclusive. Hello. Okay, I want to bring you back to Uganda.
Mhm.
What are some of your favorite places to visit when you're in the country?
Wow. Um, I don't want to sound so cliche and say everywhere, but everywhere for real. But I think my favorite places is always, oh man, I don't know where to be. I think I love going to Entebbe. It's where from my mom's side of the family is from, Nkrumah. So I love going there. I love. Mm, there's a lot. I love Kampala. I'm a city guy, so I love the city.
Can I ask, have you ever played on the Dustyville courts
Of where?
in Entebbe?
Bush Court.
There's a basketball court where the Entebbe Night Riders usually play at.
I know.
They call it Dustyville.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Night Rider. Yeah, the Dusty. Of course. Woo.
You have? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. One of my close friends, Norman Bleak, came from that team, Night Riders, and some of the Inabu family are Night Ride pioneers. Yes. So we go that court. Ooh.
Interesting.
The next day, I'm like, I'll be having a cough, and I'll be wondering where that cough came from.
Hey, not too much. Okay. And what about like nightlife? Going out or
Yeah, I used to go out a lot. Governor, go to Governor and things like that. But in Kampala, everywhere is a nightlife.
Do you know Governor is closing? By the way, I'll be the first to break the news to you. Yeah, apparently they're closing after all these years.
Yeah, that's sad. Ever since, it makes yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, basically everywhere in Kampala is a sport. So really, is there anything in particular you miss about Uganda?
Yeah, I won't lie. And I'm going to just say it. Fear of judgment from anyone. I miss my Rolex. And my roadside chicken.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Every time I go back to UG, that's the first thing I get.
I don't know what it is about the process of roasting that chicken, because it has that particular aroma that you don't find like you can't replicate it, and you can't find it in a restaurant. It has to be on the street. That's the one that has that something.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd recommend someone if they were coming to UG, like make sure you go here, make sure you go there, or?
No, I wouldn't recommend anywhere to make sure they go, because one thing about our people is that and this is just me personally, I've been in almost every African country you can think of. We're probably the most friendliest people you'll ever meet. We're acceptable. We treat everyone like brothers and sisters. So every place is going to make you feel like home. And everything based off what your goals and objectives are in life, and what your needs are at that specific dispensation of time will show and indicate what someone would want for themselves, where they would like to go, and what they like. But Uganda has everything for everyone, everything for all people. So I can't even recommend, because the moment you go there, you're just gonna love it. Period.
Yeah, I think that's really valid, because our people are just like, come through, let me show you.
yeah, you'll experience so much. You'll experience so much.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you planning to come by anytime soon? Should we be expecting you at some point?
I will let you know. I will announce it. These days, I don't announce where I travel to.
Oh yeah, I mean, basic safety.
I've learned in life a private life's a healthy life. So I'm extremely private when it comes to my travel. You probably don't even know where I am in the world right now.
I assumed you're in South Africa. I don't know.
But I'm just saying, I'll never tell anyone where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I am in South Africa. But I am, but I'm saying I don't travel, but you will know.
Okay.
Soon. I'll be in Uganda. And when I'm in Uganda, we must definitely catch up.
Definitely, absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer all these questions.
Thank you.
And kind of help to connect. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. For those that are watching, thank you so much. And I appreciate it so much. If you want to follow me on my social media handles, LK4 underscore. LK underscore 4 FOUR. That's in all my platforms. I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on everything else. Twitter, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.